Well, hi there. I'm a little shadowy. Let's see here. We need to tilt that down for fireside chats with Clint. And where's Leisha? She's on her way. Don't you worry. I'll tell you this, though. So I've decided today, a while back, I got this hoodie. This is from our Teespring store. And my recommendation to you, like, if we have lots of stuff in our Teespring store, and I think basically all of them are available as hoodies. But this is the first time that I actually got one of the hoodies, and I got to tell you, it's been devastating.
We fight over it.
Yes. if you have a significant other that could fit in your same hoodie, like, do not get this hoodie, because it's seriously, like, who wears it more, you think? You.
I do not.
Yes, you do. Basically, anytime I want to wear a hoodie, it's just like, oh, but I was going to wear that one. We love it. And so anyway, this is, just don't get it. Don't get one. It'll just cause conflict in your relationships. But I do love it ever so much. Yeah, so anyway, thought I'd rock the hoodie today for Fireside Chats with Clint and Leisha. But today, let's see, this is a really exciting time. This coming, I think, Sunday is Steve Irwin Day.
That's fun.
And a couple of years ago, we released a video. I'll probably post a link to it probably on Steve Irwin Day, but of a lot of my thoughts about Steve Irwin. But I love him. I honestly, and this is strange because I've lost friends and family members, but I don't think I've taken a death as hard in my life as I took the death of Steve Irwin, and like, it still pains me whenever I think about it. It's I've talked to you guys before about how in my life, most of my life I didn't have any reptile friends, and that's not really true. I would say I had two reptile friends growing up. One of them was Steve Irwin, and the other one was Jeff Corwin. They were fantastic. But Steve, he's just such a special person. Can you scoot in a little bit? I don't have you. I don't have you.
And you're more shadowed than me.
I know.
Move this light over?
Maybe. We'll try to get all of our lighting right so you can see both of my eyeballs.
You tell me where you want.
I look like Luke Skywalker trying to decide if I'm going to go light side or dark side. It's not. No, I think you can turn the intensity up.
I think it's all the way up.
Yep, that's all we've got. Well, maybe we'll bring some lights from the studio next time for Fireside Chats with Clint and Leisha.
It looked good last week.
Yeah, maybe we probably just. It looks good. Is this okay? Are you guys okay with this? Oh, I'm seeing Gus. Like Gus. This Gus.
What the?
No big deal.
Where's my phone? Oh, do you see it?
You lost your phone? Leisha's been wandering around looking for her phone
I
like this
found
whole
it,
life.
and then it
Here it is there.
Oh, you found it?
Yep.
Thank
Okay, so we're very, very official and fancy here. Anyway, I can tell you that growing up, like, if you'd asked me, what do you want to be? I would have probably said Steve Irwin, right? Like if there was in fact, when I went and worked at Disney's Animal Kingdom, I was excited about the fact that at my job I got to dress like Steve Irwin every day. I was green Steve Irwin, but he's one of my biggest heroes. And the thing about Steve, was I also recognized that I am not Steve Irwin, right? And there are some attributes of Steve that I simply don't have, and some that I do. I think there are two things about Steve that really set him apart. And I think the biggest one is his passion and his enthusiasm for life, for animals, for just the natural world, for educating the public. I think in that way, that was the biggest draw of Steve Irwin. I think that was one of the biggest things that made him so special. But that was only half of the recipe, I think, for Steve. Because the other thing was his willingness to risk life and injury in the pursuit of incredible experiences with animals and just in life. And you guys probably know me well enough. I've always recognized that I don't have that. I am not that. I prefer. I have come to a point where like I accept that sometimes if you're gonna say chase down a rockin' big iguana, you're gonna get hurt a little bit, probably, if you're actually gonna catch it. And I'm okay with that. But I still try to do it in the way that minimizes my risk of injury while still allowing me to catch that iguana. Anyway, so we're different. And this is actually where I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Chandler today. We have some rockin' mail.
I want to share something about Steve Irwin.
Share something about Steve Irwin, please do.
So Clint's always been obsessed with Steve Irwin, and he's always told me the death of Steve Irwin, like his heart still hurts when he thinks about it. And I didn't get all the hype because obviously I knew who he was, and we'd watch Crocodile Hunter and stuff, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But one night, this was not that long ago, just a couple years ago, I watched tons of YouTube videos, like tons of Steve Irwin YouTube videos, and then tons with Bindi and what's his son's name?
Oh, Robert?
Robert and his wife.
Terry.
I knew Terry. And I was just like, literally, I stayed up till probably 5 in the morning just watching all these videos and watching all these documentaries and interviews and Steve Irwin on Oprah and all these things. And then there was an interview of Terry like 10 years after he had passed away. And she just cried and she said, he's always the one. He'll always be the one for me. And when a wife says that, you know the kind of person that man must be. And I just felt I felt close to them ever since. And now it's a dream of both of ours to go to the Australian Reptile Zoo.
Yeah, Australia Zoo would be...
or not Reptile Zoo, but Australia Zoo.
We got to spend one day in Australia. So I've been in Australia for one day in my life. And I was like, can I get to Australia Zoo? And we were like 12-hour drive away. And I had one day to be there. So I'm like, I could get there, I could touch the Australia Zoo, and I could leave. And so we wound up following a really good recommendation from a friend of Dave Kaufman to go to the Australian Reptile Park. And it was amazing. Yeah. We have a video film for it. We just haven't released it yet.
Yeah. And so I love Steve Irwin too. And he has a special place in my heart ever since getting to know him that night until 5 in the morning.
Yep.
He's sweet. Also, if you're wondering why my hands are black, I've been DIYing tons of videos for my channel. I just can't edit them because I'm getting a new hard drive for my computer.
Yay!
So I have so many amazing, fun, awesome videos coming out. And my hand is here to prove it.
It's very Halloween-y hands right now.
Yeah, it's all black.
She's really late.
Okay, we have some super chat.
Okay, let's do a few super chat. But I will get to you about my thoughts. About Chandler. And all my mail, and we got all kinds of cool stuff. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, wait, I don't know if they can hear that. Turn it upside down. Is that too loud? Can you guys hear me okay today, by the way?
Jason said audio is great.
So but I've heard a few things that they want you to be more louder.
What?
Not today, but just in general.
In general, so last night did they tell you that?
Well,
more loud when I speak, or more loud? When
just comments from last week's fireside chats with Clint and Leisha. They were like, Leisha needs to be louder.
I've never gotten that advice in my whole life.
Now that I think about it, it's probably because you're looking over there at the questions, so you're talking away from our snowball microphone.
That's true. So this is from Anthony, who I have in the past said, your friend Anthony.
Yes.
But he just did a one-on-one, and I got to join. And so I met Anthony, and Clint always told me how cool he was, but it wasn't until I met him and I was like, all right, Clint's telling the truth.
Yeah. It was like, Jason, are you missing the binky?
Yeah.
Jason would talk to me about Anthony, because you guys who do come to the live streams, like you've seen Anthony come up a time or two. And he's like, who is this Anthony? What's he like? And I'm like, oh, Anthony's amazing. But Jason, I don't think, trusts my judgment of character. So he's like,
Clint says pretty much everyone is amazing. He's just a nice guy. So when I got to know Anthony, he really is such a cool, genuine guy. He sang for me, and I sang for him, which is weird because I don't I don't.
It shows how comfortable you were getting to meet him.
Yeah, I got my guitar out and we just did a little singing medley and chatted. It was really fun. Anyways, Anthony sent $100.
Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you. That is really so fun.
It is incredible.
He said, for my reptile room, my dear friends, everyone should wear their best khaki this Sunday for Steve Irwin.
That is such a good idea.
I love that idea.
I love that
I don't
too.
have any khaki. Does this sweater count as khaki?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I've got some khaki pants I could wear.
Yeah.
Wear them for church.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Love it.
I love it. What a great suggestion.
Natasha Peterson said, your passion and enthusiasm matches that of Steve.
Well, thank you very much. That's very humbling whenever I hear that. I mean, I do feel like I don't know what it is. I've just always loved these things, and I think that's why I connected so deeply with Steve.
Yeah, totally. This is from Captain Moby 13, which is Doug.
Doug!
He said, here's what we would have given if Julie and I had been able to go to the reptile room on Monday. Hope to be back again soon. By the way, best reptilian Pokemon. Wait, is that? Doug, that's you, right? I thought Captain Moby 13 was Doug. Doug Smith.
No, that's what he said.
Okay.
And he said he would have come to the reptile room.
Well, I'm just putting 2 and 2 together. I'm not for sure that that's it.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right. So, can I borrow this little girl?
Yeah.
So the question was, best reptilian Pokemon, but wasn't there? Thank you so much, Doug, by the way. We as you guys may know, the reptile room is currently closed because COVID's really spiking here in Utah. But I got to say, like, there have been more face-to-face chats because of it, and so we're gonna be okay thanks to you guys. And it's so fun getting to meet you. And to my knowledge, COVID doesn't spread over the internet. It's not a computer virus.
So tons of people, Clint posted on the community tab that he does the one-on-ones, and tons of people who have scheduled one-on-ones have said that they had no idea that he did that.
Yep.
And I know all of you guys know because we talk about it every Friday, but spread the word. Let people know that you can come hang out with Clint at the Reptile one-on-one. It's way fun. Clint loves it. And it really, that is literally how the Reptile Room is staying open right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, always. Even when it was open, it's not like it's anywhere close to carrying its own weight. Yeah. It's 100% because of you guys. And this is a terrible time.
Jason set that up for us. So
yes.
Thank you, Jason.
This is a terrible time to try to start something like the Reptile Room.
Okay, more super chats. Where's our button?
More super chats.
This is from Lauren. You did a one-on-one with her this week.
Yeah.
One-on-ones rule. Thanks for a fun chat this week. Love seeing Shovel Face.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's so cute.
It was so great getting to talk to you.
Oh, did you say best reptilian?
No, I totally skipped that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the best reptilian Pokemon. I like a lot of them. I've always kind of liked Lapras, who's like a turtle plesiosaur. Delightful. And then when I first played Pokemon, my first ever Pokemon game was Pokemon Blue, and my starter, though, Pokemon, the original Pokemon represented reptiles quite nicely because your choices were 2 reptiles and 1 amphibian. But I picked Squirtle as my original starter because I love turtles.
Interesting.
And that whole series, though Owen is bothered somewhat. I think it's Owen, or is it Kevin that's bothered by it? I think it's Kevin. My good friend Kevin. He's bothered by the fact that Blastoise has cannons coming out of his shell. Kevin, yeah, I don't see where the problem is.
Where did Pete go?
But I like pretty much all of the reptile Pokemon. Some of them aren't quite as cool as their reptile doppelgangers, but there's some bodacious ones.
I don't know where it went. Okay. Let's see. Anthony sent another super chat.
Anthony!
Hello, my friends. What is a dream reptile / animal that you haven't seen / interacted with that you would like to?
A dream reptile that I haven't seen or interacted with that I would like to. Mm-hmm. So one of them I've never interacted with that I would like to, that I've seen. So there are a few of those, like Komodo dragons and Fijian banded iguanas. Mm-hmm. Eyelash vipers. But then when it comes to ones that I've never seen in person, I need to remember the name of it. But there is this green spiny-tailed iguana. They're little and absolutely spectacular and glorious. I've never seen one in person. I recently got to see two Ataras and New Zealand green geckos, which, by the way, we filmed stuff on those too. We just haven't gotten around to releasing it. So exciting videos coming down the pipe. If you're not a subscriber, which most of you here probably are, maybe you should subscribe and click the little bell just in case.
More super chats. Are you ready?
More super chats.
Tony Smith, who has come to the reptile room now.
Yeah.
We met him. He got a painted iguana, which was neat. He said,
and brother.
Yeah. Hello. How are the emerald tree skink eggs doing, and when do you expect them to hatch?
That's a very, very good question. So, I think I have multiple clutches. My first clutch, they laid in their quarantine enclosure, and I moved it into an incubator, and my incubator had a spike. And so it just randomly got super hot, and those eggs died as a result. I have since then learned that they don't cannibalize their offspring, and basically their entire enclosure is just like a giant lay box. So I have left, seeing that even incubator can fail me, I have left all the remaining eggs in the incubator. I think she even laid a new clutch just this week, because both skinks are ridiculously personable. Except for about 4 days, she wouldn't come out. She wasn't hiding from me. She just didn't want to come out. And she looked kind of swollen. And then yesterday, she was back to her normal, personable self. So I'm pretty sure she had a clutch she was working on.
Poor little thing. Oh, I didn't answer my reptile question.
What was your reptile?
That Anthony said was I think he was talking to both of us.
All right,
reptile we haven't interacted with.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have a reptile. It's a mammal.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Synapsid reptile.
I don't know what reptile I'd really want to interact with that I haven't yet. But I do have a mammal that I really want to interact with.
What's that?
You know what it is.
Oh, a gorilla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a dream of snuggling a gorilla.
I spoke to some people who pet a tiger just this week.
Yeah.
And they said they're not nearly as soft as they look.
Really?
So that might replace that dream of yours. Snuggling the tiger.
No, still gorilla.
Gorilla.
When Clint and I were dating, Clint bought me a little stuffed animal tiger because I also wanted to snuggle a tiger.
Yeah. Then you watched a few episodes of Tiger King and you're like, never mind.
Yeah. No, it's been gorilla for years. Tiger King. We're not going there. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Morelia said, Anthony needs to be in person on the live stream sometime. He has had such a big part of it. We'd love to see him.
That would be super cool.
That's a great idea.
Anthony wants to come out here, and we would love to have Anthony out here.
Yeah.
It's a weird world at the moment, but he's definitely invited. And that would be fun. If he came on a Friday.
Yep.
We need to figure out the internet at the room, too, so we could do a live stream from the room.
Yep. That'd be way fun. Okay, do you want to do mail? Do you want to go to Patreon?
Let's do a piece of mail.
What?
A piece of mail.
Which one?
Oh, well, I don't know. Should I? Oh, let's see. Are you gonna just sit down? Where did she get these cute shoes, by the way?
That whole outfit is Asa hand-me-downs.
It's adorable.
It's so cute. Okay, let's just do this one. This is from Michael Fitzhenry, who you've gotten mail from before. Cute.
Wait. I think this might not be from him. I think this is from this letter. It made a jump. Jason told me I had to be careful with these. Okay.
Want me to take her?
Let's see. No? Whoa! There's a really nice handwritten letter here that I'll have to go through.
Handwritten letters are the best.
They are.
I love handwritten
But I saw some cool drawings too. Like, it looks like there's a DNA double helix there on the back of it.
That's awesome.
And some bodacious graphs.
You'll have fun reading that guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna look forward to it. Thank you so much for sending me this letter.
Yes, that's so nice. Yay, you're gonna have tons of fun.
Yes, I am. Whoa.
You want to do another one?
Yeah.
Why don't you do this one?
This girl's falling out of her shoes.
That's okay. You can take it.
I don't
It's
want
pretty
to.
warm in here.
Okay, are you too toasty for your shoes? I'm too toasty for my shoes. Too toasty for my shoes.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is from Corin Worthington. And it's got llamas.
Cute.
Yeah, I'm a llama again. Oh, and a really cute letter.
That's so fun.
That is so nice. Thank you. And I love the llama card.
Yay.
Llamas.
Did you say who that's from? That's from Corin Worthington in Oregon. Thank you. That's so nice. Okay, here.
We're going through all of them?
Well, they're pretty short.
Okay, well this one is, so this is from Pet Junkies. Holy smokes. It's just, okay. Oh my gosh, they're decals.
That's so fun. What are they?
Here, I'm going to have to hand over this small little winker.
All right, come here, little wink.
Got it? Okay. So this is from Pet Junkies in Louisiana. Best pet ever. This is I put that in the window of my car.
Yeah.
People will stop me and go, oh. It's like a paper cut out of a beta.
That's fun.
That's pretty fantastic. Oh boy, you guys are going to like this one. This one might actually have to go in the window of my car for sure.
Is it Gus Gus? Cute.
It is.
Cute.
You guys seeing that? That's
Who
right.
are these from? Did you
Yeah. These are from Pet Junkies.
where? What state?
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Another Tegu one.
With a heart.
These
That's
are
so
rad.
fun.
That's for your car.
And
I
a
love
spider.
it. These
I
are
like the
awesome.
spider one.
It comes with the oh, there's more cutouts. Oh boy, it looks like they've got a cool punch. Oh snap! I like these. Okay,
What is that?
and then Scorpion.
Wow, those are neat. It looks like they have a cricket machine.
Yeah,
That's
with
so
the
fun.
the coolest cricket
Okay,
ever.
last one.
Wait, a Chimeleon.
Wow.
That's I think a Tegu. And let's see. Oh, and here's their card. So there's Pet Junkies. Check them out on Etsy.
Cute.
No cut. There's more. Ooh,
I received
there's an
it.
iguana and a spider.
Cute.
Our Hogna carolinensis molted yesterday. No big deal. Woo!
Okay, last one.
This is the last one.
That's
Okay.
from Skell's Exotics in Pennsylvania.
Skellz, Skellz. All right, let's see here. Skellz Exotics.
Cute.
Oh, and Skelly. Let's see here. Okay. Got a couple cards. There's some cool stickers in here. And a letter. And a magnet. So Skellz Exotics. These are cool.
These are really
That's a magnet.
That's fun.
I
Can you imagine if it's stuck or all
might be a metal plate in my head. I told you the aliens got me. These are cool. Oh, look at that one's shiny. This is a hollow foil one. Extra collectible. And let's see here. Wow. Well, hi there, Clint and the Clint Reptiles family.
Cute.
So these are from Jeff.
You're
And
gonna
it's
have
just a
fun
big
reading
thank you.
that,
Yeah,
too.
this is so nice. We can't wait to visit the reptile room someday. Thank you so much.
That's
put this
so
with my
awesome.
stack
You
of-
guys are so thoughtful.
Yeah, this is really so nice.
Yeah.
Best pet ever.
Dragon Whisper sent a hiya, Clinty.
By the way, if you haven't seen Dragon Whisperer's YouTube channel, do check it out. He's running a really awesome rescue for bearded dragons and lots of other cool creatures.
2 rescued cresties have both laid, but after candling them, they appear infertile. I was hoping to sell the babies to help the rescue. Could these be leftover eggs from a previous breeding?
So as far as crested geckos laying infertile eggs, it is my experience that females, once they reach maturity, they usually lay some eggs, even if they haven't been bred. But they also can retain sperm for a long time. So if you get eggs, go ahead and incubate them, see what happens.
Yep. Awesome. Do you want to talk about Chandler for a minute?
Yeah, let's do it. So last week we talked about Tyler Nolan, and I got to share some of my thoughts about him. And the reality is I really like Tyler. And kind of at the end of so I got to meet Tyler, and we sort of spent the whole day with him. And it wasn't until that evening that we got to see Chandler. Chandler's sort of in between houses at the moment. And so it wasn't really clear if we were going to get to see Chandler or not while we were down there. In fact, at first it looked like we weren't. And But then he came herping with us. We went down into the Everglades and saw some just absolutely amazing stuff. And I got to spend time with him that day. And that was really cool, but like we were in separate cars and stuff. So we only saw him a little bit. But then the next day, just sort of on the fly, he wanted to come out with us again. And so he went with us to this bodacious abandoned zoo where it's full of iguanas and all kinds of crazy stuff. And he came there with us. And it was that day that I really got to know Chandler. And I got to tell you, from just watching his videos, I think I had a little bit the wrong idea about Chandler. For those of you who don't know Chandler, Chandler's got a YouTube channel called Chandler's Wildlife. He's got 1.5 million subscribers. So more of you, well, probably not of you necessarily, but a lot more people have heard of Chandler than have heard of Clint Reptiles. And, you know, sort of like if you had to sum up what's going on there for somebody who's never seen it before, I mean, one of the things is he's got this great big male king cobra named Kevin, and he handles Kevin right here, right? Face up, right there. You know, and I in fact, in our video on king cobras, I don't mention Chandler by name, but you know, I'm talking about people who do the sort of things Chandler does. And I'm like, this is something, you know, you can do it, right? You know, king cobras, you know, you can read their behavior, you can tell how far they can strike, you can do that kind of thing. But if you do it enough times, sooner or later, it's going to go really badly. And you know, and when I watch Chandler, like I'm always worried about that with him. And you know, he seemed a little bit to me like a daredevil of sorts, you know, in his videos. And I didn't realize necessarily like how Chandler feels about his animals. And, you know, maybe I just need to watch more consistently. You know, the thing is with all of these people is like, I had the wrong idea about Tyler Nolan too. And now that I've gone back and watched Tyler's videos after I got to know who he is, it's like you can totally see who he is. You know, I probably just had preconceived notions that were clouding my judgment. And I think I had the same thing going on with Chandler. Chandler is really, really a neat guy. And something. So, you know, I am a person, I have a lot of interests. I like all sorts of stuff. You know, pretty much no matter what you're into, I am a little bit interested in it. Enough that, like, we can have a great conversation about it. I like that kind of thing. And, you know, when I go to science conferences and stuff, I go out of my way to try to find out what the scientists are into other than their research. And, you know, so with Tyler, you know, I asked him, you know, what other things do you like? And Tyler likes all sorts of other things. He is into a lot of stuff. And I think that's really fun. And I asked Chandler, you know, what else do you like to do? And he said, this is it. This is it. He's all in, you know, and Chandler, you know, he's younger than I thought he was because he is so competent and experienced and knowledgeable. You know, I thought he was older, but he's younger. He's about the same age as one of my oldest nephews, and he's really athletic, like one of my oldest nephews. And that, like, I love this nephew. You know, we get along great. I really like spending time with him. And Chandler really reminded me of him a lot. And my nephew's very athletic and into sports. Chandler's dad always wanted him to be into sports, and he just wasn't. All he wanted to do was go out and wrestle alligators. You know,
sure, I'll go to wrestling practice, but just so I can learn how to wrestle the alligator.
Well, I don't even think he would go there. He went out to the Everglades instead and found alligators and wrestled them.
Wow.
And you know, when he was a teenager, he started doing venomous snake shows and crocodilian shows. And he was I mean, he did that for a long time. He learned a lot about how to handle these animals, about their behavior, about how to read them. And, you know, and that's what he did. And he started his YouTube channel, and he's kind of doing a show like you've been doing for a long time, essentially. She's getting louder.
He's having fun playing.
Yeah, hopefully that's okay, guys. Sorry if you can't hear me, though. But anyway, he is really, really into animals. He's really into reptiles. He's extremely passionate, and he's very, very, very interested in conservation. That's becoming his whole world. He's trying to start major conservation works, and honestly, that is what he does with the proceeds of his channel. Is he works towards that goal, and it actually puts him in sort of a strange spot. And it's actually, so this is the thing too. When we went to that abandoned zoo and we were catching iguanas, he and I worked. I mean, we ran like crazy. We were running like nonstop for the first 45 minutes we were in the zoo.
Wow.
And it's hot there, man. And
especially when you're coming from 40-degree weather in Utah.
Oh yeah. And we both got ourselves beaten up a little bit catching iguanas. And we wouldn't have caught a single iguana if we didn't. I mean, we each caught one big iguana. I caught a spiny-tailed iguana. She bit me as I grabbed her, and then her tail actually cut me worse than her teeth did.
Wow.
So, and I got beat up on the wall a little bit trying to catch her. Chandler also, he's like scaling palm trees and stuff while we're trying to catch him, because he's a lot more willing to endanger himself while catching these knives. We got to a point where I found the biggest, most impressive male iguana I've ever seen. And I took pictures of him for a while, and then he went into the water, which is what iguanas do. Green iguanas, they're like water dragons. They hang out usually on the ground near the water or up in a tree above the water, always close enough so they can flee to the water.
She's having so much fun.
Yeah, we can't stop her. Sorry, guys. But anyway, I saw exactly where this iguana went in the water, and it was just out in the reeds, and probably only about 10 feet out, maybe 3 feet deep in water. And I knew he was just going to hang out there. Like, I could go out there and catch him. But, this is an important but. Apparently, there are American crocodiles in the waters of that zoo.
Scary.
And in fact, the night before with Chandler, I saw my first ever wild American crocodiles. We saw 3 of them. They were awesome. But might be crocodiles in that pond, which that changes equations for me. But Chandler's like, we got to get you an iguana. And so he sets his stuff on the bank, and out he goes to catch that iguana. And he asked me to film him. So after him, I followed him out there into the water. But I certainly wasn't going to be the first one into possibly crocodile-infested waters to catch an iguana.
I can't paint her binky.
That is the difference between me and Chandler. Chandler will scale a palm tree and fall out of it to catch you an iguana. He will go into crocodile-infested waters to catch you an iguana, because he's all about that. And I love these creatures, but I keep envisioning my family at moments like this. I'm like, I better not get eaten by a crocodile. Like that.
We'd miss you.
Yeah. There'd be some level of missing me that would occur as a result.
Some level.
And anyway, my takeaway really from spending time with Chandler is he's got all the things. He's got all the things. And in fact, it was something I talked to Dave about the next day. He was saying, watching you guys and especially Chandler chasing those iguanas, he's like, it made me feel old. And I'm like, well, Dave.
You are old, Dave.
Dave. I was thinking, man alive, and I should, Chandler, if you end up watching this is the greatest idea I could give you, and I'm giving it to you for free. You and Dave, you guys should pair up. Dave, knows everything and everybody. He can take you anywhere in the world and film you and make incredible videos. I think you've got all the things. Like, you've got the heart, you've got the passion. You're a good person. Like, people relate to you, they enjoy you, and you're willing to do the crazy, which, to be honest, that was always part of Steve Irwin's draw. I mean, that is why people know about Steve Irwin. There are legitimately a lot of people out there who have a real passion, but it's that passion and that little spark of crazy that really
a little spark, a little dash of it.
sprinkle of crazy in there that really puts them over the top. And but it can also be a curse. And I want to talk to you guys about what I would like you guys to do for Chandler, because Chandler has these really amazing dreams, but they're expensive dreams, right? He wants to create a conservation center and all of these things. Well, that's not inexpensive to do. So his channel, it needs to do really well, and people go to Chandler's channel to watch him do something dangerous. That is what, that's why his channel got attention originally.
Sorry, she's tired. You want me to take her up?
Yeah, why don't you take her up? I can chat for a little longer.
Sorry.
But I feel like he's also pigeonholed a little bit into, he needs people to watch his videos so that he can do all his conservation dreams. And, he's doing amazing work. But in order to do that, he just has to do things that are dangerous all the time. And he doesn't get to talk about this whole enormous other side of him nearly enough. And so I'd like to encourage you guys all to really support Chandler's channel, but especially support him in making videos about conservation and about, really informative videos that talk about, this whole other side of Chandler that we don't get to see because he has to do the things that get views. Go over there and give him the views. He's doing great things, right? And I really I support him as a person. I really, really am grateful for the opportunity I had to get to know him. There's much more to him than I ever imagined. And he's an incredible person doing incredible things. Anyway, that is what I have to say about that. Which unfortunately leaves me in a spot where I don't have Leisha. But give me a chance real quick, and I will do what we would be doing all the time if I didn't have Leisha here. So I'm going to answer this question about step runners really quick. So this is from Noonshine or Noonshine? Probably Noonshine. Noonshine's like moonshine. Okay. Hi, Clint. Is step runner breeding virtually non-existent still? Can't find anything in the UK. I think you said you'd found someone. Also, how do their personalities match to Jewel Assertive? Okay, great question. Great question. Step runners. I would like to do a video on step runners, and I found somebody a while back who was reporting to have captive bred step runners. Early on with step runners, there were a lot of reports of people who said they had captive bred step runners. And for those of you who don't know step runners, this is a small little lizard with a big personality. They're very tegu-like in their personality, but they're really small and reasonable. And they were going to be the next big thing in lizards. Except as it turned out, probably most of those captive bred babies were really captive hatched, which means they didn't breed in captivity. They just captured gravid females. They laid eggs and the babies hatched. The trick is with every sort of animal is there are certain cues in their environment that they are dialed into that indicate to them when they should prepare to breed. And sometimes we don't know what those cues are. Step runners seem to be one of those animals. Now, some of them, the cues seem to be pretty minimal. Like you can just put them together and they will breed for you. But a lot of animals, like unless you cool them down or change their photo period or their humidity or barometric pressure or who knows what, they won't breed. They'll never start cycling. Males won't produce sperm. Females won't ovulate. You're never going to breed them. And step runners seem to be that. I mean, you can bring in those that got all those cues in the wild and were breeding in the wild, and now you bring them in gravid, they lay eggs. That's not the same as getting them to breed in captivity. And so, to my knowledge, nobody's really having any success with them. If somebody really figures them out, we're off to the races. Right? They're going to be incredible. They were supposed to be incredible like 10 years ago. It's just we couldn't breed them, and so they basically disappeared. And to my knowledge, that's still the case. As far as their personality, I think it's better than jeweled lacerdas. But again, I haven't been able to spend much time around them. But they're awesome. Hopefully, we figure them out. Let's see. And then we had another one. Oh, I think from Sherry LBW. Yes. Hi, Sherry. Okay, so if you had to choose only one of, only one as only mid-sized python, Woma or jungle carpet, and why? Okay, so if I had to choose, well, I can tell you I have a jungle carpet python and I don't have a Woma. I really do like both of them a lot. Womas really like food, so do blackhead pythons. And so after the first year, your Woma is probably more likely to bite you than the jungle carpet python. The look of them, they're very distinctive looking from one another. And as far as the type of enclosure, it's going to be fairly different for snakes because one of them is a terrestrial python and the other one is a tree-going, basically really similar to a green tree python, but a little, they're not quite as arboreal, but it's a pretty darn arboreal snake. So anyway, I really, whichever one you like the look of more, they're both great pet snakes. But if I could only have one mid-sized python, it'd probably be ball pythons. I have lots of them, and they're fun. Okay. Well, I think we have lots of questions from Patreon, so I'll go over and be Alicia for a minute. Thank you guys that have chosen to stick with me during this time of great loneliness. Kaboom! All right, Clenty. Let's see here. When Alicia gets back here, I should make her be mean. I'll answer the question. Okay.
You're doing great by yourself.
Patreon!
I see my job here instead.
Yes.
See you later.
Hop into the hot seat. I got questions for you there.
No.
Hello, my friend. Steve Irwin is and always will be a hero to me. You're doing your part, my friend, to follow in his footsteps and keep his message alive. I'd just like to ask you, in your own words, what do Steve Irwin and his legacy mean to you?
Do you want me back? Or
yes, please. I would really like you back. Thank you so much for asking that. And that was so kind of you to say.
That's from Anthony.
That was from Anthony?
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you guys, I appreciate that. One thing that I don't want to even make it seem like I'm saying is that anyone could ever replace Steve Irwin. That I think is honestly one of the things that left me the most heartbroken is because there will never be anyone else. It's like he's such a special person. But I do have to tell you, of all the people I've ever met, I think Chandler has the most evil and quality. Yeah. And that's saying a lot.
Giant compliment.
That's saying a lot because and one of those things that Steve and I think Chandler both have done really well, which is something that I am not willing to take the personal risk for a lot of it. They're willing to take animals that people think are big, mean, and nasty, and show you that they're totally reasonable, pleasant, understandable, sweet animals that just need to be understood and respected. And but I mean his legacy, it's huge. I mean I wonder how different our hobby would be today. I'm not talking just about the hobby of reptile keeping, but just the hobby of loving reptiles, loving them in the wild, being interested in conservation. How different all that would be without Steve bringing that to the homes of millions.
Okay, this next question is from Jake Frankel. I want a lizard that is 2 feet or less, that is super nice and wants to play with me. What do you think would be this?
Emerald tree skinks, captive bred emerald tree skink.
I feel like emerald tree skinks are what you thought acumonitors would be.
Well, no, and acumonitors are what I think acumonitors are.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you thought, maybe I'm thinking.
Okay. I like acumonitors are delightful.
Yeah.
And, acumonitors are also, but the emerald tree skinks. The emerald tree skink is much better than I thought any
They're
lizard
like
could be.
puppies. You walk, like literally you just walk by and they're like pawing at the glass. They're so cute.
Yeah, imagine if you will. Okay?
It's like, I'm like a puppy.
Yeah, imagine if you will, a puppy that never, ever wakes you up in the night.
Yeah.
You don't have to house train it not to chew stuff. It doesn't make any noise, doesn't bother your neighbors. If you have to leave town for a few days, it doesn't care. But it is just as excited to see you every time you come there.
Sometimes I feel bad because I'm just walking by and it jumps into the glass and like hits
You have to be careful about getting too close to the glass without getting
sorry,
them
I have to open it up and let them come out.
Come on, guys, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
So imagine it's the world's most perfect puppy.
And then Jake Frankel also asked, in your opinion, what is the best venomous snake to own?
Well, it probably depends on how venomous we're talking here. Obviously, so Western hognose snakes, which I believe are now more accurately referred to as plains hognose snakes.
Really?
They're really only arguably venomous. There are other hognose snakes that are clearly venomous. It's arguable as to whether or not Western hogs, plains hogs, are venomous at all. And, it's certainly not a medically significant venom. The false water cobra, I'm obsessed with them. Right? I love them. And they are definitely venomous.
Thanks to Emily at Snake Discovery,
Yes.
you're obsessed with them.
Yes, I am. And they're definitely venomous. So that's a good one. But, I think when I think venomous, like when I think really venomous, I'm thinking vipers or elapids. And I can tell you there's only one viper or elapid that I really want to have at all. And that is an eyelash viper.
You want to have an eyelash
I would like to have an eyelash viper.
to own in proximity to our house.
Well, probably at the reptile. The thing about it is, it's a viper. It's a gloriously beautiful viper, and yet its venom. While it would give you an unpleasant day, it's not going to kill you or anything, and that's okay by me.
That is beautiful.
Oh God.
Okay.
Vipers are special.
Denny Morgan said, Alabama has outlawed pegus, retics, African soft turtles, rats. Please comment.
So we're in a weird spot. Yeah. So this is a thing, and honestly, I think what will change the world when it comes to stuff like this is as our hobby becomes more mainstream. If you asked people 20 years ago, what they think of people that keep snakes, for example, like they just think it's a bunch of really big weirdos, and they're so right. I mean, we are so weird, but we got to give them the idea we're like normalish people, and but the thing is, we do have some invasive reptiles, and that stinks. Down in the Everglades, allegedly there are a lot of tegus and Burmese pythons, and they are down there. Though I will tell you, I didn't see any while I was down there, but I did see like 1,000 green iguanas. So green iguanas, there are many. Spiny-tailed iguanas. They've got all kinds of stuff down there, and that habitat type extends beyond just the Everglades. And so, in places where these animals could survive in the wild, there is the possibility that they could establish a feral population, and that's not good. At the same time, feral dogs and feral cats are a far larger ecological threat to basically everything than these feral reptiles. But nobody talks about them. And the reason nobody talks about them is because dogs and cats, they're such a normal pet. Everybody loves them. You can't begin to be like, we're going to go out and shoot all the cats out of the Everglades without the world just exploding, right? Everybody would lose their minds if you started talking about that kind of a thing. They're too mainstream, too normal, and there'd be too much public outcry. And so, no one's over like, we're banning cats. That's never going to happen anywhere. And so really, like, reptiles are an easy target because it's just a few fringe weirdos that like them. But the more mainstream that the reptile hobby becomes, the more that we can educate the public about how incredible these creatures are. Well, yeah, pretend to be normal, and then, really, the more good information we can get out there, the less fringe and weird these animals seem to be, and the more people understand just what incredible creatures they are, the less governments are going to be coming after them.
Cody Knightham said, "Hello there. In recent years, the population of C. variegatus on my property has been replaced by a population of H. turritus. I know they are not a native species. So, what, if anything, should I do to encourage the native geckos to return?"
Okay. I don't know. You can. It's difficult when you have two very similar species that are trying to share a habitat, because if they're using the same resources, one of them is usually better at it than the other. And the one that is better at it tends to drive the other species away. At the very least, the ones that are going to be the most successful of the other species are going to be the ones that don't use that resource, or find a way to use a different resource. And so they end up evolving down a different path away from doing what that other one does, or they go extinct locally. And that's really what you're facing. I mean, if you're talking about two species that compete for something, and you just make it better for the one that's losing, well, it's also making it better for the one that's winning. It's really tough for you to do something on your yard level that will make a big difference.
This is from Robert Watson.
Yeah.
Hello, Clint.
Robert asked the best question.
I've got a question about phobias today, and hopefully with a feel-good vibe. I know that pre-COVID you did outreach and educational programs featuring reptiles, and obviously the reptile room is now open for people to visit. As such, I imagine you've seen a lot of people from different walks of life interact with reptiles and exotic invertebrates for the first time in their life. In interacting with people with phobias of the animals you keep, what have been some of the most positive experiences you've had? Would you say you've witnessed a few people overcome their fears? Absolutely.
Yeah, we see that happen all the time. All the time that people overcome their fears of reptiles, especially. Here's what I would say is the thing. Don't push them too far too fast, right? If you take somebody who's afraid of snakes and you're like, here's a snake, they'll freak out, they'll burst into tears, like they're gonna have a horrible experience with it. And people have done that to them before.
I did that on accident in one of my classes in college.
No?
Because I did elementary education, so we had to teach each other all the time. We were planning lessons and teaching. And so I did a lesson about some biology subject and brought some snakes to talk about whatever we were talking about in biology. And so I pulled out the snake to be like, and this is a good example. And I had girls literally scream and run out of the classroom in college. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even think that it might, like, I should be like, this a trigger warning. I'm going to pull out a snake in a second. Sorry.
Well, some people are just truly terrified. And I've had a few people that I've seen run away. But generally speaking, you try to make it a comfortable situation for that person. Make sure that they know that you're not going to force them to do anything. You're not gonna try to scare them with the snake. You want them to get to have a positive experience with it. And something I found, there's a couple different ways. I've got some really nice snakes like Buttercup. She's often the first snake that people that are afraid of snakes will handle. And she's just super nice. And just telling them that she's super nice and showing her, like I show
That's
how she's
something
not
that you're really great at. Because Clint talks a lot about like how to read a snake, and you can tell this snake's not going to hurt you, and he shows you all the things to look for a snake that's not going to hurt you. And you're saying like show that they're not head shy, like you can do anything with Buttercup, and she's just like whatever, I'm a good snake.
It's
and
true.
That really helps them a lot. And another thing you do is you'll be like, okay, I'll hold the head over here, and how about you just touch the tail? That's all you need to do, just touch the tail. So
yep,
start off slow and little.
That was one of the things I was going to suggest. It's really nice when I've got like a big boa, because I can have the head way over here, and I'm just like, I got her head all the way over here, but you should just touch her tail. And usually they will, and I'm like, do you want to just hold her tail just so you can see what she feels like? And they usually do that, and I'm like, are you sure you don't want to hold her? And I'm like, well, I'll take your picture, and we're going to make a heck of a selfie.
Yeah.
And
he always says you'll have something to write about in your journal.
Yeah. And they almost always do. And then, I mean, you hold a snake like a boa or even Buttercup or any of these, like you hold it and you see what they're like, and you're never going to look at snakes the same way.
And it's really neat. It's really amazing to see people. Like, we had a girl come into the reptile room, and she was holding a little sand boa. It was the first snake she'd ever held in her whole life. And she was sobbing. She had like literal tears coming out of her eyes. And she wasn't making, like, she was smiling because she was so proud of herself, but she was so terrified that she had tears coming out. And then next thing we know, she's handling ball pythons and all these other snakes all by herself, like happy as a clam, FaceTiming her family.
Yeah, FaceTiming her family. And then a week later, she was back with her family. She brought her whole family there. It was amazing.
It was way fun.
That honestly, those experiences are why I'm the saddest at the reptile room. Because of you guys doing the face-to-face chats, I mean, we'll be okay. I miss watching people get that.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's so fun. And I don't know if anybody who's come into the reptile room who's like so afraid of reptiles. You know what I'm saying?
No, but she was that same person. She was afraid of the emerald tree snakes when we started out.
Yeah.
So she was pretty.
Yeah. Doug Smith said, with the new state COVID regulations in place, even if the reptile room is to be closed for a while again, do you ever need volunteers to help care for the animals? I would like to help in any way you can. Doug, I've seen your email. You filled out the forms. I'm so thankful. We know you, and so we know what we're getting with you. We've been interviewing other people that we don't know, but we definitely.
Yeah, we
have you coming sometime.
Yes. We'll get it all figured out soon. Yeah. Kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah, some of the people that we interviewed are like, so am I coming in today? I'm like, I don't know. We're still trying to
we have no idea what that
all of you are so amazing, and we don't. Yeah, so we're still trying to figure it out. Nick Moore said, "Hey Clint, can you house a male redder? Can you house male?" He's saying two, but it's not on two, so I think it's. Hey Clint, can you house two male red-eared spiders together? I have a 4-year-old male looking to get another one. Does it matter the new one sex or age?
It's really gonna just come down to how much space they have. Red-eared sliders, you know, they don't battle like geckos or something like that when there's two males. But if it's a small enclosure and they can't get away from each other, that's going to be an issue.
Amar says, what do you think is the current state of the reptile hobby and market in the U.S.? Is it growing, shrinking, stagnating, or is healthy? Not looking for an in-depth economic answer, but more like your gut feeling or initial thoughts on the matter. As always, stay safe and best wishes to you and family.
My gut feeling is that the reptile hobby is exploding.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few reasons for that. One of them is there's just so much more support in terms of information and in terms of just supplies that you can get than there used to be. So it's becoming more mainstream in that way. Another one, I honestly think leopard geckos and crested geckos have been huge because, you know, it opened up a lot of people who normally maybe didn't think they liked reptiles, but they're like, well, I love crested geckos. Look at it, it's adorable. Oh yeah, and I think those were like a gateway reptile for a lot of people because then they started going to expos and they're like, well, that's rad and that's rad and that's rad and that, and now they're in deep.
Yeah, that's where it started with us, sort of, not you, but me.
Yeah.
And with Melanie from Bricktopia Geckos.
Yep.
That's where her whole thing started.
And I mean that was the first single animal video we ever did with crested.
No.
No accident.
Jacob Huser said, in your opinion, are there examples of well-meaning conservation laws that have a net negative effect on wild populations? What can be done about such laws?
Oh, probably lots of them. Well, especially because sometimes we play like the old woman that swallowed the fly when we try to do conservation. We're like, oh, we got cane beetles. What eats cane beetles? Cane toads. Bring in the cane toads. What eats cane toads? Nothing. Oh no. Yeah. And so we do a lot of stupid stuff, trying to control populations. I mean, there's all kinds of examples like that. The main thing I think is, they're try to get good people on it. So, because here's another thing. This is another thing, and actually, I was just this last week talking to someone who did a lot of the new legislation here in the state of Utah, and it's great. And one of the things that he mentioned was the people that wrote the previous reptile laws were aquatics people. So they didn't really understand the situation with reptiles at all. So they're probably doing their best to do stuff.
Writing these laws.
Aquatics people in this case.
I know, but why?
They're attorneys, though, largely, but people that are also very into. So these are people who know a lot about aquatic conservation and stuff, and they're just basically applying all that stuff to reptiles. And so we've got a lot of really weird laws here. Like you can't have a dwarf caiman here in Utah. Why? No reason. They can't become invasive here. They're not large enough to really be dangerous. Like, there's no really good reason why you can't have a dwarf caiman.
Dwarf caiman are large enough to be dangerous.
They're going to hurt you, but so can your dog. Real bad. I mean, a dog not long ago just bit a kid's arm off here in Utah. The kid reached through the fence, it bit his arm off. I would be surprised to find any situations where a dwarf caiman has bitten somebody's arm off.
I didn't.
So, they're not very dangerous. They can't become invasive. Like, there's no good reason for it. But if you don't really know what you're talking about, you're like, well, maybe down in St. George there could be a population. No, they couldn't.
Yeah. Okay, I think, what time is it?
I think we've got a few super chats.
It's after 1 and we have a few.
I don't know if I got all the super chats before. Okay. I tried.
Okay, sorry.
She likes the super chat button.
Okay, let's see. Oh, there's quite a few. So let's go quick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I sort of picked
Mr.
up.
and Mrs. Morella, did you read that one?
I don't know.
What reptiles do you think need to be bred in captivity for the reptile hobby?
All of them that we want to keep in captivity.
What is your dream reptile breeding project?
Right now, emerald tree skinks. Why start? I can't tell you how obsessed I am with emerald tree skinks. They're unbelievable. Everybody's like once these are available, captive bred in large numbers, everyone and their emerald tree skink should have an emerald tree skink.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Like I think they probably are like the most popular thing for people to see at reptile, which is nuts. Yeah. That of all the things that are there, a little thing that's this long is going to be the thing that everybody's like, I want to see that.
I went to lunch with my mom and my sister on Main Street in Springville, and my sister needed to use the bathroom, so I was like, oh, let's just run over to the reptile room and you can use ours. So we just walked over there, and I was just there by myself with my mom and my sister, and I was showing them the emerald tree skinks. And my sister's way more okay with reptiles than my mom. So we pull them out, my sister's holding it, and my mom's like, oh my gosh, Jenna, I've got to take your picture. This is so cute. And she gets up close to take her picture, and the emerald tree skink jumped from my sister to my mom right on her chest. My mom's like, ah! Curled up, landed on her head. It was a fun experience, but I mean, they've loved them ever since because they're just so personable like that. They're just so cute and fun. Sorry. Off on to another question. Anthony says, so my friend, what differences are there in the care for the Rankin's dragon as opposed to bearded dragon?
Not too much. Rankins are basically just little beardies in almost every way. I mean, you can get away with a smaller enclosure, less food with the Rankins. The biggest thing to watch out for, and I understand it's becoming less of a problem, but for a while our U.S. population of Rankin's dragon was starting to succumb to inbreeding suppression because a much smaller number were exported, especially to the United States, and so it was difficult to find ones that weren't closely related to each other. But I think they've brought in a lot of new bloodlines from Europe, and I think things are looking better. But do be careful with your bloodline.
Noonshine says, "Hi, Clint."
I think I talked to Noonshine.
The Step Runner breeding.
Yes.
Okay, you got that one.
And the next one.
And you got Sherry LBW.
Yes.
Okay. This one is from Sled Dog. I'm so glad Clint got to meet my favorite Floridian species: the bearded Floridian, painted Floridian, and curly-haired Floridian.
Oh yes, they were all awesome. That would be Kenan. Painted, that'd be Tyler. And curly hair.
Yeah.
That would be Chandler.
The
Floridian.
white, the Floridian. I see. You read Moonshine. Okay. Try to face the mic when reading from Patreon.
Patreon.
Sorry. Okay. Anthony said, "So, my friend, what do you believe had a bigger impact on the extinction of Pleistocene megafauna, human interference of the climate?"
Human interference or the climate?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sorry. Let me. So, my friend, what do you believe had a bigger impact on the extinction of what did you say? Pleistocene megafauna, human interference, or the climate?
Okay, so the question here is, what do I think really led to the extinction of bodacious creatures like woolly mammoth, woolly rhinoceros, giant sloths, all those things? Was it climate change or was it humans hunting them? And I think the answer is yes.
Really? Did humans hunt them that much?
Oh, and apparently a lot of it was like with mammoth, people found out that they could just spook the herd and cause it to run off a cliff. And then
the whole herd?
Yeah. And then you could eat some. People are very good at causing extinctions.
But really, I feel like there are way fewer people than animals.
Well, yeah, but if you're a little group of people, every few weeks chases a herd of mammoth off a cliff.
Sad.
And the thing is too, with when it comes to really large megafauna like that, the population size can't be that big, and so extinction is easier to achieve. But I think climate change is also a big thing.
Totally.
But the thing is too, like you've got things like muskox. Mm-hmm. There are still portions of climate like that, and that they're just gone. So.
Muskox or not?
No, but mammoths.
Oh, I see. Okay. Natasha Peterson said, "I picked up my first snake yesterday." Guess what it was? She's not saying that. I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying guess what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, picked up first snake yesterday. Hognose.
Close.
Sandboa.
Kenyan sand boa, but that means I've spent my 1-to-1 budget, so I look forward to scheduling one in December.
No worries. I'm excited for you, though.
I love sand boas. They're so fun.
Me too. Or to quote Owen, I love sand boas. I love sand boas. I love sand boas.
That was cute. Natalie N said, "I know it's not much, but I just wanted to show some support." She sent $5.
Thank you so
Natalie.
much.
That's
it really does
awesome.
make a big difference.
It does. It really does. Did you talk about Patreon?
No. Would you like to talk about Patreon?
No, you're so much better at it.
I am not.
You are.
Okay, vote. Who's better at it? But one of the things that we do to try to say thank you to our rad fans and stinking rad fans at Patreon is we always try to make sure we get through all the Patreon questions that they submit. I don't see them in advance, but Jason does, and we make sure we get them all.
And there's so many other cool perks. Jason really does work hard at it too. And it was so funny because Clint's like, "Let's just launch this thing, just get it out there." And Jason was like, "No, we have to have all these perks in place. We have to have everything ready. We've got he's very particular and wants it to be really good."
Yep, very true.
And did you tell them about one-on-ones?
Well, I think a few times I've done this one-on-one.
Good. And
that's it.
That's it.
We're all caught up. Well, guys, thank you for sticking with us today. And thank you again to all of you that are doing one-on-ones there at the Reptile Room. It's super fun getting to meet you and show things off, and it literally is keeping the Reptile Room alive.
Thank you for letting me be an imposter. This today is why I usually sit outside of the camera so I can rest baby and find binkies and change diapers and not have to be such an interference. So thanks for letting me be here too, in spite of all of that.
Well, as always, like and subscribe, and we hope to see you real soon.
Bye.
Oh, well, maybe. Oh, there it is. There it is. I've been doing too much Zoom.